So I was not planning on doing another video on the Try Guys, but when the SNL skit came out, let me tell you, that really pissed me off. So I'm Tyler, the Hollywood attorney. I have been working in Hollywood for over 15 years. I've worked at various big companies like Disney, Skydance, and BuzzFeed, and as well as some very big law firms. This video consists of my opinions. I am not giving any legal advice, nor am I making any legal conclusions. But I guess this is not surprising given the history of alleged sexual harassment that seems to run rapid at SNL. There was a recent lawsuit that was filed against former members of SNL by a woman who was underage at the time when she was a guest of the show. So let me say this. I have incredible respect for the Try Guys and how they handle this Ned situation. Because you know how it's normally handled in Hollywood? Normally, nothing is said. The company usually won't release a statement, and if they do, it's usually like a written statement written by their PR firm. Not only did the guys come out and release a very transparent video of what happened, I mean, most of the time, companies would not let their owners make a video about what happened. And let me just say, the way they handle this is a masterclass in how you handle a crisis within a company. First of all, they did not do what most companies in Hollywood do, which is sweep it under the rug and protect their buddy, right? Realize that this is their friend and business partner who they've been friends with for 8 years. Here's a man who not only betrayed them, but opened up the whole company to potential lawsuits, not from just the one employee, but to potentially other employees. So I got really pissed off at the SNL skit because they made it seem like, oh yeah, Ned was caught in a consensual kiss at a Harry Styles concert, when Ned has come out and admitted that he entered into a consensual workplace relationship. He called it a relationship, so it's not a kiss the way SNL called it. Consensual phrase that's being thrown around. This is from Ned, who's probably trying to protect against claims of sexual harassment. He says it's consensual. We haven't heard from anybody else to support that. We haven't heard from potentially Alex, who is the employee who's allegedly was with Ned. So people are confused, right? Like, why did Ned get fired for cheating? Yes, it's a character flaw, but that's not, wrong in terms of a company. And what people are missing is the fact that there was a power imbalance because Ned was the boss. He was one of the co-owners and founders of Try Guys. He was also the HR professional who was in charge of HR, potentially violated the morals clause in his executive employment agreement, which states that an employee, if they act in a way that opens up the company to any liability, then company has the right to terminate. So because there are employees who could potentially file lawsuits against the company, that's why Ned was pushed out, because he opened up the company to liability. He acted in a way that was not consistent with the values of the company, which is what the guy said in their statement video.
From the jump, we were acutely aware of just how contrary this was to the values of the company we've built and those of everyone who works here.
There are many reasons why the Try Guys were very much within their rights to push Ned out. So let's talk a little bit about an employee's rights within a workplace. And I want to talk about it in terms of, let's say hypothetically, right? Alex, I believe, is being exited from the company. She's probably getting a settlement package or a severance package. If I was her attorney, I would probably ask for a year or two of whatever her annual salary was, because she probably won't get a job for a while. But I myself have faced discrimination. The Me Too movement was born out of the entertainment industry, right, by Harvey Weinstein. And the fact that we are now having the 5th year anniversary of the Me Too movement, this was a chance for them to say, good for you, Try Guys, for doing the right thing. Good for you for potentially protecting women's rights here, employee rights here. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what are your rights if you're an employee facing kind of sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, discrimination of any sort, whether it be gender or race or faith-based. Well, first of all, you should get a lawyer. I know people say, well, go talk to HR. A good company, right, will have great HR. Most companies have HRs that are there to protect their companies. It's right. You think HR is there to protect the employees, but they're really not. So get a good labor attorney. But basically, let's use Alex as an example. We'll use Alex because it's kind of been assumed, right, that she is the employee who had the relationship with Ned. I won't say consensual because I haven't heard from her. But what are Alex's rights? What what are an employee's rights, let's say, once they face discrimination? The reason why there are potential claims of sexual harassment is because Alex was an employee of the company and Ned was her boss. There's a power imbalance there. When you have that power imbalance, then that's a problem. So what you can do is get a labor attorney who can protect you. That is very important. And what needs to happen is an employee should be able to go to HR and should actually, even if they don't feel protected, state that they are the victim of sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, discrimination. And HR is supposed to make a record of this. And at that point, the company should not be able to fire you, because if they do, then that's retaliation. And that's where the potential claim for wrongful termination can come up. Some of you are asking, well, why is it that Alex can claim wrongful termination? Isn't California at will? California, you can fire an employee for anything. But if there are claims of sexual harassment and there was a reporting of it and that employee gets fired, then that's retaliation and that's illegal. So let's say the Try Guys exit Alex out of the company. And what happens is there'll be a settlement package, a severance package, and a settlement agreement that is signed. In the past, once an employee signed a settlement agreement, they were basically silenced. They couldn't talk about what happened. They couldn't talk about what the company did to take care of them or not take care of them. However, I was talking to a labor attorney and she told me about this act that was passed in January 1st of 2020 called SB 331, which is the Silence No More Act. And basically this expands on the act that was passed in 2018, which was SB 820. And that is called the Stand Together Against Non-Disclosure Act. And so 331 basically expands that. And it says that if there are settlement agreements put into place that is connected to sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, or discrimination, then the employee who signs that settlement agreement, they can come out and talk about what happened and disclose the details of it. And they can, in the past, employers could require a non-disparagement provision, but with this act, you no longer can require that. So for Alex, when she's ready, if she ever wants to, she can come out and tell her story. But we have no idea what happened. Maybe she really is the victim of sexual harassment. I mean, the claim for the SNL suit says that this young woman was groomed, by one of the former members of SNL. So when women are very young, they are easily that they shouldn't say anything or that they should allow men to touch them or grope them in a way that's inappropriate, because when they're young, they don't understand that. So what I'm saying is I have no idea what happened with Alex, but if she wanted to come out and tell her story, this new act, SB 331, would allow her to, and she could talk about what happened. And I think it's a very powerful act, right? It's one more step towards making all the progress that has come from the Me Too movement even further. And this is why I'm so pissed off at SNL, because they had the chance to expand the conversation, to tell the world, hey, look, we know we've done wrong in the world. We know Hollywood is not great towards young women. We know our history. We're going to do something different. And good for you, Try Guys, for doing something for protecting women, for protecting employees. But instead, they decided to not do that. And so from the bottom of my heart, I say, shame on you, SNL. Seriously.